On May 25, 1979, American Airlines Flight 191 was scheduled to fly from Chicago to Los Angeles. It never made it. Just 31 seconds after takeoff, the unthinkable happened. It became the deadliest aviation disaster in U.S. history. Among the 272 people who lost their lives, that day was one of the most brilliant minds in the field of human consciousness, Itzhak Bentov. Bentov was a true innovator, a bridge between science and spirituality. Without any formal academic training, his boundless curiosity led him to create revolutionary inventions, like the steerable cardiac catheter, and to found a multi-million-dollar biomedical company that still operates today. But his most groundbreaking work was in the realm of human potential. During the Cold War, the CIA was desperately exploring the limits of the human mind, running projects to harness abilities like remote viewing and telekinesis to gain an edge over the USSR. Bentov's research was so advanced it caught their attention. His theories about the body's electromagnetic energy, its connection to other dimensions, and the possibility of transcending space-time were exactly what CIA researchers were looking for. How much did his ideas really influence these secret experiments? What secrets could he have revealed that made him a person of interest to such a powerful agency? Though many of these government documents were classified, Bentov wanted to share his knowledge with the world. He was on his way to give a lecture in California when the tragic accident occurred. Did he know too much? Was his knowledge deemed too dangerous for the public? Or was it all just a cruel twist of fate? In this video, we'll dive into the enigmatic ideas of Itzhak Bentov. We'll explore his view of reality as a structure of vibration and sound, forcing us to question everything we think we know. We'll see how these ideas connect to the awakening of Kundalini energy and his mysterious understanding of time. You'll even learn a practice he proposed to experience this for yourself. Finally, we'll uncover his vision for how the entire universe operates. Known to his friends as Ben, he illustrated his books with charming, cartoon-style drawings, some of which we'll use to understand his mind-bending concepts. Through his research and insights gained in altered states of consciousness, Bentov developed a unique model blending science with mystical intuition. For him, reality was holographic, and at its core, vibrational. The key idea Itzhak Bentov explored is that everything we perceive as physical reality originates from sound and vibration. This manifests through rhythmic oscillations that, when they interact, create the patterns forming our physical world. Think of a pendulum swinging back and forth. It alternates between points of rest and movement. This simple oscillation is the basis of reality. Sound isn't just another vibration. It's a perfect example of how the universe's oscillations combine to create the reality we know. A fantastic way to visualize this is through Cymatics experiments. When you apply sound frequencies to sand or water, you see beautiful geometric patterns emerge from the chaos. This shows how vibration organizes matter into coherent forms, mirroring how reality itself is structured. This idea even echoes ancient wisdom, like the biblical passage, "In the beginning was the Word." Here the Word can be seen as the primordial vibration that gave rise to everything. When we look at an atom, what do we find? The nucleus and electrons are just electromagnetic fields in constant vibration. The space between them is empty, just like the vacuum of space. The only reason we can touch an object is because the electrons in our atoms repel the electrons of the object. If we could accelerate our own vibration, we could theoretically pass right through solid matter. This interaction gives us the illusion of solidity. Reality is an oscillating field, and we only perceive it partially. For Bentov, the hologram was the ultimate key to understanding reality. Imagine throwing 3 stones into a pond. Each stone creates ripples, and where these ripples cross, they form an interference pattern. If you could instantly freeze the water, that chunk of ice would contain all the information about the stone's positions. By shining a laser through it, you could see a 3D image of the stones. But here's the most fascinating part. every single piece of that ice contains the asterisk's entire asterisk image. If you break off a small fragment and shine the laser through it, you still see all 3 stones. This is an incredibly efficient way to store information, and nature loves efficiency. When it finds a system that works, it replicates it on every scale, from the microscopic to the macroscopic. This holographic principle is perfectly reflected in the human brain. In the 1970s, scientists Carl Pribram and David Bohm proposed that both the brain and the universe have a holographic nature. Pribram argued that memories aren't stored in specific locations but are distributed throughout the brain, just like in a hologram. This could explain why people can retain memories even after parts of their brain have been removed. Now let's replace the 3 stones with 3 people. We are constantly emitting information through our thoughts, emotions, and actions. These energy fields interact, creating a vast interference pattern, a hologram. This suggests that human consciousness is an immense shared hologram. Phenomena like telepathy and intuition could simply be manifestations of this deep interconnection. At our core, we are one mind, a unified consciousness. The implications are staggering. Everything we think and do doesn't just affect us. It influences everyone else. We can see this principle in action with sympathetic resonance. If you have 2 perfectly tuned violins and pluck a string on one, the same string on the other will start to vibrate without being touched. Energy transfers easily between them because their frequencies match. A similar effect happens with pendulum clocks. If you hang several on the same wall, they might start out of sync, but over time they will all begin to tick in perfect harmony. Tiny vibrations through the wall cause them to synchronize. This same principle applies to us. The vibrations of one person can influence those around them. Have you ever felt your mood lift just by being around a positive person? Or felt drained after spending time with someone negative? That's resonance at work. Spiritual teachers, for example, often have a very high vibrational frequency. Their mere presence can elevate the consciousness of those around them. The Indian sage Ramana Maharshi was a perfect example. People reported profound shifts in their state of mind just by sitting in his presence. As you can see, resonance doesn't just affect our environment. It affects our bodies. Just like violins or clocks, our bodies are a collection of resonance systems. This ties directly into Bentov's studies on Kundalini energy, a force that, when awakened, rises through the body, harmonizing our internal frequencies and creating a powerful state of coherence. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into the mind of Itzhak Bentov. If you found these ideas as fascinating as I do, please hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the mysteries of consciousness. See you in the next one. Have you ever heard of Kundalini energy? It's a powerful concept from Eastern traditions, often described as a force that rises through your spine, awakening energy centers and expanding your perception. The scientist Itzhak Bentov dedicated his research to understanding how this energy connects our nervous system to the evolution of consciousness. Bentov explained that as this Kundalini energy ascends, it actually harmonizes the body's frequencies, bringing them into a state of resonance. When it rises, it unlocks our chakras and releases stored tensions, allowing us to perceive reality on a whole new level. But if it hits blockages along the way, the process can feel a bit intense as it powerfully clears them out. He saw the human body as a collection of oscillators, all vibrating at around 7 Hz, though usually not in sync. But what happens when they do synchronize? When our heart, brain, and other organs all vibrate together at that magical 7 Hz frequency, we enter a state of resonance. This doesn't just harmonize our own body. It syncs us up with the Earth's own vibration, the Schumann resonance, which is also about 7 Hz. It's like we're plugging directly into the planet's heartbeat. In one fascinating experiment, Bentov hooked a person in deep meditation up to a device that measured their micro-vibrations. He observed that their breathing almost stopped, and their heart rhythm took on a smooth, sine wave-like pattern. He called this the Kundalini syndrome. In this state, The entire body resonates as one, the brain hemispheres synchronize, and the pineal gland gets activated, potentially connecting us to higher planes of reality. This gives us a little glimpse into the incredible depth of Bentov's work, which has amazing parallels with modern research from figures like Dr. Joe Dispenza. Now let's talk about time. According to Bentov, we are constantly oscillating between movement and rest, like a pendulum swinging back and forth, about 14 times every second. Our physical reality, everything we can see and touch, exists in the movement phase. But in those tiny moments of rest, that's where the absolute, the infinite resides. This happens so fast we don't even notice it. We only perceive ourselves in this material world, completely unaware of the moments we spend in that state of rest. But what if we could consciously access those moments of rest and expand them? What if we could actually experience them? This is where things get really interesting. Through practices like meditation, we can train our consciousness to inhabit these moments, transcending the material world and literally expanding our subjective experience of time. People who've done this often say it feels like time stops or slows down dramatically. Bentov even created a diagram to explain this. Imagine objective time, the time on our clocks, as a straight line from past to future. Then, imagine subjective time, the time our consciousness experiences. Normally, they line up perfectly. But in altered states like deep meditation, a gap appears between them. The bigger that gap, the deeper the altered state. He calculated that if the angle between subjective and objective time is just right, 1 second of clock time could feel like 2 subjective seconds. Your perception of time has literally doubled. And if you could keep increasing that angle until your subjective time becomes almost parallel to objective space, you'd reach a point where time and space as we know them cease to exist. You'd be present everywhere, all at once. Your subjective time would become infinite. This is the state known as Samadhi, the ultimate expansion of consciousness across the entire universe, accessing the very source of the hologram we call reality. Want to try a fun experiment to see if you can bend time yourself? Bentov designed a simple but powerful technique. First, grab a clock with a second hand and place it in front of you. Just relax and watch the second hand move. Get a feel for its rhythm. Now, close your eyes and vividly imagine yourself doing your favorite relaxing activity, and I mean vividly asterisk. If you're on a beach, feel the sun's warmth, smell the salty air, hear the waves. The more real it feels, the better. Once you're fully immersed in that visualization, slowly crack your eyes open just a little. Don't focus on the clock. Just let your gaze rest on it, like a casual observer. If you do this correctly, you might be shocked to see the second hand stutter, slow down, or even stop completely for a moment. The key is to keep your mental focus on your visualization while simultaneously observing the clock without attachment. It's like when you're reading a book, but your mind is somewhere else, a kind of split in your consciousness. So, why does the clock seem to slow down? Bentov's theory was that your observing mind, the part of you that interprets sensory data, was literally absent. It was off on that imaginary beach. While your eyes were still seeing the clock, there was no one home to process the information. When your consciousness snapped back to your body, the clock would resume its normal speed. I'd love to hear from you in the comments if you try this and what you experience. Finally, let's touch on Bentov's model of the universe, which he called the cosmic egg. He imagined the universe beginning as a tightly packed sphere of matter and energy that exploded in a single direction, creating a torus-shaped universe of stars and galaxies. As it expands, it slows down, and eventually all matter is drawn back to the origin point in a continuous cosmic cycle. He brought in the concepts of black holes and white holes. Black holes pull matter in, and white holes, he proposed, are what spit that matter back out at the start of a new creation. So, our universe might have emerged from a white hole, which is the other side of a black hole from a previous universe. It's a perpetual cycle of death and rebirth. As matter goes through this process, it gets completely re-energized and homogenized, ready for a new evolutionary journey. And consciousness, Bentov believed, follows the same cosmic rhythm of expansion and contraction, evolving with the universe and returning to the source. For him, reality is simply consciousness exploring itself. The physical universe is just one of its many expressions, and what we perceive depends entirely on our own level of awareness. And that brings us to the end of our journey through the mind of Itzhak Bentov. I've done my best to simplify some of his incredibly deep and fascinating ideas. If there's any topic you'd like me to explore in more detail in a future video, please let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. I hope you found this information as mind-expanding as I do. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next deep dive. See you soon.